A developer is integrating a third-party API. The staging environment uses a self-signed certificate. The HTTP client throws a certificate verification error, SSL, certificate_verify_failed, and the integration breaks. The documentation is unclear. The deadline is not. The fix is one parameter. Verify false. The error disappears. The integration works. The PR is reviewed, approved, and merged. 6 months later, the same code is in production, connecting to the payment processor. Nothing in the application logs reflects the change. Nothing in the behavior of the application reflects the change. Requests succeed. Responses look normal. The only difference between a verified connection and an unverified one, from the application's perspective, is the absence of an error it was told not to raise. This is what makes disabled verification different from most security failures. A misconfigured firewall rule generates anomalous traffic. An expired certificate causes connection errors. A failed authentication attempt produces a log entry. Disabled TLS verification produces nothing. The application operates identically with it present and with it absent, except that with it absent, a certificate the attacker controls is as acceptable as a certificate the intended server presents. The failure is invisible by design. Verification exists to catch a specific condition, a certificate that should not be trusted. When verification is disabled, that condition can be met without detection, because the check that would have detected it is no longer running. What certificate verification actually does in a TLS connection is confirm two things in sequence: that the certificate was issued by a certificate authority the client trusts, and that the hostname on the certificate matches the server the client intended to reach. Both checks must pass for the connection to be legitimate. Verify false removes both. Not one, both. The application no longer confirms that the server presenting the certificate is who it claims to be, and no longer confirms that it is the server the application intended to connect to. The parameter has a different name in every language, but the same effect in all of them. In Python's requests library, verify false. In Java, a custom trust manager that overrides check server trusted with an empty method body, accepting every certificate unconditionally. In Node.js, reject unauthorized set to false in the HTTPS agent options. In curl, the -k or disarray in sfore. In Go, insecure skip verify set to true in the TLS configuration. The implementations differ. The outcome is identical. The client will complete a TLS handshake with any server, presenting any certificate, claiming any identity. The pattern enters codebases at a specific architectural seam, the gap between the certificate environment of development and the certificate environment of production. Development environments use self-signed certificates, easier to generate, requiring no CA involvement. Staging environments use internal certificates not trusted by the system CA store. Corporate networks run TLS intercepting proxies that present their own certificates to outbound connections. Each of these produces the same error. The certificate cannot be verified. Each error has the same one parameter fix. The fix is applied in the context where the error is occurring, development, staging, behind the proxy, with the reasonable expectation that it will be removed or replaced with proper certificate handling before the code reaches production. It is not removed. Code review does not catch it, because the reviewer is also familiar with the error and the fix, and does not evaluate whether this instance has left the environment where it was appropriate. The shortcut makes it to production, carrying the assumptions of the environment it was written in. The scale at which this occurs is documented. A 2012 study published at Usenix Security, Why Eve and Mallory Love Android, analyzed over 13,000 Android applications and found that 1,074 of them, including applications handling banking credentials, medical records, and payment data, had SSL certificate verification disabled or bypassed. The applications were not obscure. They included widely distributed consumer applications with millions of installs. The vulnerability in each case was not a sophisticated exploit. It was a standard HTTP client call, with verification turned off. The pattern has not narrowed since. Security researchers and automated static analysis tools consistently find verify false equivalents in production API clients, internal tooling, and microservice communication layers across enterprise codebases. The frequency is high enough that it is considered a baseline finding in application security assessments, present often enough to be assumed until disproved. What the pattern enables for an attacker is precise. A man-in-the-middle position on the network path, a compromised router, a rogue Wi-Fi access point, an ARP poisoning attack on a local network, a BGP hijack on a larger one, combined with a TLS certificate for any domain, self-signed or otherwise, is sufficient to intercept every request the application makes. The attacker terminates the client's TLS connection, reads or modifies the plaintext, and forwards the request to the real server under a separate connection. The application sees a successful encrypted connection. The attacker sees everything that passed through it: credentials, session tokens, API keys, payment data, internal service responses. The content of the application's traffic are available to anyone positioned on the network path and aware that verification has been disabled. The traffic is encrypted. The encryption protects nothing because the channel it was established over was never confirmed to belong to the intended recipient. The presence of TLS in a system is commonly treated as evidence that the connection is secure. It is evidence that the connection is encrypted. Encryption and verification are not the same property, and in a system where verification has been disabled, they have been separated. Encryption present, verification absent, in a way that nothing in the system's behavior will indicate. An attacker who controls the network path does not need to break the encryption. They need to present a certificate. Verification would have caught it. Verification was disabled.